And welcome back to Los Angeles. At this very moment, the Dodgers are taking the field here as they try to avoid a sweep at the hands of their bitter rivals, the San Francisco Giants. 72 and sunny. Shocking, I know, but just another gorgeous day here in Los Angeles as we are excited to bring you this game tonight between the Giants and the Dodgers. Let's check out the starting lineup for the Giants. Off to a good start at 5-1. Their starting lineup is brought to you by Taco Bell. This has become a team over the last 4 or 5 years known for its pitching, specifically its starting pitching, but their offense is off to a great start this year. As Crucky talked about, they're averaging better than 6 runs per game. They hit 3 homers yesterday. They've hit 9 home runs in their first 6 games.
Yeah, and it's something that Bruce Bochy was hoping to get out of spring training was more offense. They thought Michael Morris would provide that, and they were very pleased with what Brandon Belt has done, Dan, making the adjustments he's made that we're going to talk about during this game, and he's become one of the elite hitters in the National League since August 1st.
Tough challenge ahead, both with the pitcher on the mound and the time of day and the shadows. It's not going to be easy to pick up some base hits early in this game. Never is easy against a guy like Zack Greinke, who missed a month last season. Remember the broken collarbone and the brawl between the Padres and the Dodgers, and still won 15 games, had a terrific ERA of 2.63, and I think is acknowledged as one of the best pitchers in baseball on most of the teams in baseball. This guy's the undisputed ace.
Oh, without question. And the great thing about Zack Greinke is he's an athlete. You can't say that about a lot of starting pitchers, but he is. Great fielder, can swing the bat. And if you're Matt Cain, you got to be careful when he's up at bat because he will swing it. Don Mattingly said he's as good a hitter as any pitcher he's ever seen.
Angel Pagan striding toward the plate, a real catalyst for the Giants. Off to a good start, hitting over 400 a week into the season, and a guy they really missed. He missed about half the year last year after hamstring surgery, and a lot of teams don't have a suitable replacement to put up in that leadoff spot when they lose a guy, and this guy really helps make them go.
He really does, and he works counts, but he's also aggressive, and if you make a mistake, he can take you out of the ballpark, but they needed him at the top of the lineup to make the other guys better because he's seemingly on base all the time.
Marty Foster's our home plate umpire tonight. Rob Drake at first, Alan Porter at second, and the crew chief Joe West is at third. And we are ready for baseball here in L.A. First pitch swinging, base hit through the right side. That didn't take long. Pagan's now got a hit in all 7 games in which the Giants have played this year.
Well, like I said, he likes to work the count and go deep in the count. Or with Zack Greinke, you know you're going to get strikes, so you better swing early.
Now, right away, we get into a little bit of a chess match because Greinke, one of the many things that he does well, he can help control the running game. And a pretty good arm behind the plate, and Drew Butera. Pagan likes to steal a base.
Yeah, but Zack Greinke's very good. Like we said, he's athletic. He can go with the slide step. He can hold the ball. He can do anything that doesn't throw him off his rhythm and keeps the runner at bay.
The batter, Brandon Belt, the San Francisco first baseman, who's a guy for a couple of years they've been waiting to see the improvement, the development. They saw it the last 2 months of last season. They're seeing it out of the gate this year. He's already got 3 home runs this year. He hits up in the 2 spot against righties. They're without Marco Scudero, out with a back condition. So Belt against righties hits second. Hunter Pence hits second against lefties. As we take a look now at Dumore, brought to you by Safeco. And he certainly did more the last 2 months of last year.
Well, he did a lot more. And again, the adjustments that he's made that we're going to tell you about later, but it basically moved back in the batter's box. He was standing with his back foot almost even with home plate. He couldn't get to the inside pitch. Now he has more time to get to it. And we'll talk about the wrapping of the top hand, which he has finally agreed to let go.
Fouled back 1-2. As we mentioned in the open, this is a lineup. You thought of Posey, you thought of Sandoval, then they picked up Pence. These are all ifs this early in the season. But if this is truly Brandon Belt, and if Pagan stays healthy, Michael Morse now with the Giants, all of a sudden it's not just a 2 or 3 guy lineup you have to worry about. It's a lot deeper.
It's a whole lot deeper and a whole lot tougher to pitch to because now they do have some power in that lineup besides Posey and Sandoval and Pence.
Up and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pagan's active over there at first, stunting, dancing around a little bit, trying to get under the skin of Greinke.
Well, and that's the thing. When I talk about Zack Greinke, he held the ball that time on Angel Pagan, and you saw Angel's front foot starting to leak towards second base, stutter step towards second base, and Greinke just held it till he stopped, and consequently you can't steal when he does that. He's got to go breaking ball here. He's thrown all fastballs to Belt. You got to try to breaking ball him.
Runner not going, and a swing and a miss to get him one down.
He got away with a couple pitches and 2-2 right there at 92. It looked like a two-seamer running away from Brandon Belt, and that's just a perfect pitch because it starts out on the outside corner. You think it's a strike. It runs off the plate. Just can't reach it. I still would have thrown a breaking ball.
So Belt retired, and now Greinke will face Pablo Sandoval. And if you're looking at him and saying, boy, there's less Panda than I'm used to seeing, you're not wrong. Depending on who you talk to, he's down between 30 and 40 pounds from last year. And this guy could hit when he was 280, 290, whatever he was. So maybe poised for a big season. And he is in a contract year. So it's in his best interest to have a big season.
And the one thing, he lost some weight, but he still hasn't lost the ability to hit anything that's thrown forward. He'll swing at everything yep. except that first breaking ball right there by Greinke. And now he's in swing mode.
Sandoval swings at just about as high a percentage of pitches outside the strike zone as anybody in baseball, but he hits them hard.
He actually is a better hitter outside of the zone than he is in the zone. So if you're going to pitch around him, throw him strikes.
Only A.J. Pierzynski swings at more pitches out of the zone than Sandoval did. At least that's based on last year's numbers. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I'm shocked he didn't swing at that one. That's right in his wheelhouse. And it's got to be frustrating for a pitcher to, you think you make a good pitch out of the zone, yep. and he still puts the barrel on it.
Let's take a look at Pablo Sandoval's hot zone. The red spots, the red squares are where he hits 350 or above. The 250, the blue squares 250 or below. And you can see there's no pattern to the red. Up and in he can get you. Down and away he can get you. And a lot of those, the kind of the middle 9 are in the strike zone. That outer ring is outside the strike zone.
3 in the strike zone, 4 out of his hot zones.
Liner to left field, and a tricky play for Carl Crawford. Well, he'll make it for the second out, and Pagano back to first.
Well, the one thing about Pablo is he will swing and hit at all fields, and there's another pitch. It looked like a changeup by Greinke out of the zone, and most left-handed hitters, when they get fooled or they're a changeup, they're liable to roll over, and I'm sure that's what Greinke was hoping for. But with Pablo, you never know. You throw it out of the zone, he's going to hit it hard.
So 2 down in the inning now. You can see what, depending on where you are in the ballpark, as the sun begins to set. The lights are on, but you've got shadows, you've got some bright sunlight, depending on who you are and where you are in the field right now. Buster Posey takes a pitch. He played a lot of games here, obviously, as a member of the Padres and then later the Phillies. Now, 5 o'clock games in the summer are different than 5 o'clock games in April, but all of them pose some difficulties.
A lot of difficulty, but like you said, not only for the hitter, but for the fielder, because that ball to Crawford went from, it's left Greinke's hand in the sun, it went into the shade to Pablo, and then went back in the sun and in the shade to Crawford. That's why he had a difficult time with it.
Check swing on the appeal. He didn't go. Posey off to a good start this year. His numbers were down significantly last year from the MVP season that he put up in 2012. Remember, he came back from the badly broken leg in 2011 and had a terrific year in 2012. Hitting .336, driving in over 100 runs. Still good numbers last year. That would be another huge boost for the Giants. Not necessarily MVP numbers, but if Posey could be closer to those numbers than he was to the numbers last year, that's another big boost for the offense.
Yeah, it gets better pitches for Pablo Sandoval, and it puts Hunter Pence or Brandon Belt, whoever's hitting 5th, in a position to drive in more runs because he's going to be on base.
And the inning is over. Great job by Greinke after giving up a first pitch base hit. He gets Belt, Sandoval, and Posey in order after that. That far away from where we are here at Chavez Ravine. Dan Schulman, Jock Bruck, Buster Olney.
You took my thunder away with the
with the billboard
things.
I forgot.
It's all right.
The boss is here this week. Maybe we should run that by the boss.
Maybe we should just let you do it.
Bottom of the first. Here's the Dodger lineup presented by Taco Bell. They are without Yasiel Puig, out with a thumb injury suffered yesterday, diving into first base. So they've got Crawford, Ethier, and Kemp in the outfield, and Andre Ethier absolutely owns Matt Cain. 30 hits and 68 at-bats.
I'm talking to him before the game during batting practice. I brought those numbers up to him about how he hits well against Matt Cain, and he said, yeah, don't tell anyone. He said, because I don't really want to know. He said, I don't know what it is. He said, he's a great pitcher. I just see the ball well out of his hand. I guess that's the key.
Evidently.
He's seen it real good.
Here's Cain, who did not have his typical season last year. These are subpar numbers for Cain, although he did have a much better second half. Had an ERA over 5 in the first half and an ERA down to 2.36 in the second half. But overall, innings down, homers up, ERA up for a guy who's had a terrific career. D. Gordon leads it off for the Dodgers. The former shortstop is now the LA second baseman, at least against right-handed pitching, and he's off to a good start. He is swinging the bat well. He's got 3 steals already. And just as importantly, as Don Mattingly told us before the game, we saw Gordon a lot last year when he had trouble at short, and you just wondered, even on a routine ground ball, would he be able to make the play? Don Mattingly says he seems more relaxed at second. He's taking his time. At second, maybe you can bobble, still make a play. Barehanded and in time at first to get Gordon.
Number 3, Carl Crawford.
It's a great play by Matt Cain. You see him coming in nose with the speed of D. Gordon. He can't get it in with his glove and make the transfer to hand, so he just barehanded it. And again, we talk about Greinke being a good athlete. Matt Cain's not bad either.
So they keep the speedster off the base paths, and now Cain will face another guy with some pretty good speed in Carl Crawford. And a strike just above the knees to Crawford, hitting .278 so far. He's got a couple of steals in the first week of the season, and that's an encouraging sign for the Dodgers. Biggest thing for Crawford, of course, is just staying healthy, something he's had trouble doing in recent years.
Yeah, no one will ever deny the talent that Carl Crawford has. The problem has been getting on the field, like you said, for the last few years. Started in Boston, and then when he got here, he was actually on the DL when he got traded here.
Pop up for Brandon Crawford. 2 down. It's the conversation we had at the beginning when Buster was talking about the 4 outfielders in 3 spots. It's a nice problem to have, but it's a problem really that Don Mattingly hasn't had because it's so rare when all 4 of them have been healthy.
Yeah, very rare. And again, who do you sit? And that's the big thing. And he said, I'm going to be open with them. I'm going to tell them beforehand what my thought process is and why I'm doing it. And again, they're going to be upset. Whatever one's not playing is going to be upset. And you either live with it or you go ask someone to get me out. But you got a chance to win here. I think I would stay.
Big swing and a miss by Hanley Ramirez, the number 3 hitter and the shortstop for the Dodgers. When healthy, terrific last year, but only played 86 games, as you can see, a variety of injuries. Hit .345. He's off to a slower start this year. He's at .192 right now, but the season is young. The Dodgers are 4-3. The Giants are 5-1 entering this game tonight, the leaders in the National League West.
Yeah, it's funny when you're talking to players around the batting cage. You thought, what's all this panic? We hear people panicking. He said, we're 4-3. Adrian Gonzalez was telling me that. He said, we're 4-3.
Yep.
He said, well, what's the big deal?
Broken back ground ball to first. Belt underhands on to Cain, and it's a tidy inning for Matt Cain here in the bottom of the first. Hunter Pence leads off the second for the Giants when we come back. Stadium Sunday night baseball. The Giants and the Dodgers with John Kruk and Buster Olney. I'm Dan Schulman. We have a scoreless game going to the second. Zack Greinke, after giving up a leadoff base hit to Angel Pagano, got the next 3 hitters in order, and now he faces Hunter Pence, the San Francisco right fielder, who had a couple of hits yesterday to raise his average to 120. He is now 3 for 25 on the season, but nobody's worried. You can see these numbers. This guy is about as consistent as anybody you'll find. He shows up every day, plays every day, and is a very productive hitter. And a guy very unorthodox looking in the box, and also a guy, how do you pitch to him? Because he uses the whole field.
Well, he uses the whole field, and he swings at everything, and balls or strikes, whatever. He's going to try to put the ball in play, but you would love this here because there is no one way to pitch him because the spray chart is he hits to all fields equally.
Chases the breaking ball, slider down and away, and that's the third strikeout already for Greinke.
I think Zack Greinke, after Angel Pagan swung at the first pitch, decided, you know what, I'm not going to throw a fastball down the middle anymore. This is a great pitch to Hunter Pence because, like we said, he is aggressive, and he just threw a fastball up to him that he fouled off, and now he goes down and away with the breaking ball way out of the zone, knowing that there's a pretty good chance that Hunter's going to chase that one.
Now a newcomer to the Giants, left fielder Michael Morse. Spent some time last year, most of it with Seattle, and then near the end of the year with Baltimore. And a guy who back in 2011 had his best year when he hit 31 home runs as a member of the Washington Nationals. He's got 1 homer so far this year.
Well, this was the big upgrade that they wanted to get in left field. They didn't get much offensive production as far as power goes last year in left field, and they think that Michael Morse, if he can hit 20, 25 home runs and drive in 70, 80 runs, it's an upgrade to what they had.
On the appeal, he went. Well, it took a long time for that appeal to develop, but it did appear clearly that he went, so the count is 0-2 on Morse. And there you can see, if you look at the production or lack thereof in left field for the Giants last year, last in the majors in OPS, runs, and home runs. So those numbers figure to improve. They might lose some defense and speed, but they'll pick up some pop.
Yeah, and that's why you say if he hits 20 home runs, it's a great year because there's a good chance that if they have a lead from the 7th inning on, he's not going to be getting any more bats that game because they're going to be put in probably Gregor Blanco for defensive reasons.
And that's what Bruce Bochy's been doing in the early going this year. Greinke went with the slider, the same pitch he got Pence to chase, but Morse wouldn't bite. Greinke's a guy I remember reading an article years ago, Crucky, talking about a game in which he pitched. He threw pitches, it was something like at every velocity from 68 through to 94 in one game because he throws so many different pitches, can put a little on, can take a little off. This ball carrying back near the edge of the track, and Ethier is there to haul it in 2 down. Aerial coverage tonight being provided by Goodyear with superior performing tires that knock it out of the park. Goodyear, more driven.
Where's that camera at if the blimp's in the shot? That's very confusing to me, Dan.
TV's a magical thing for you, isn't it?
It really is.
There it is. See?
There it is. But where's the camera? Yeah, we'll figure this one out. It's amazing. Probably booming down from a satellite somewhere.
2 down here in the top of the second. No score, Giants and Dodgers. And Brandon Crawford, the shortstop, takes a strike. At 248 last year, he's hitting 267 so far this year. Struggled in the second half last year. Uribe in even with a bag, well off the line at third. Outfielders basically straight away for Crawford. You see that nice, easy delivery for Greinke, and the ball must get on you pretty quickly as a hitter.
Yeah, it just comes out of his hand really good. And like you said, it's a repeatable delivery because of his athleticism. And like you said, he can add and subtract because of that athleticism on every pitch. He can throw a slower slider, he can throw a harder slider, he can throw a harder breaking ball. I mean, just the repertoire is unbelievable, and that's why he's so effective because you can't sit on anything.
Look at that breaking ball. Butera fires down to first. Giants go in order. That's 4 strikeouts through 2 for Greinke. We'll see Andre Ethier, a .441 career hitter against Matt Cain. He's due up second. Dodger Stadium. Giants and Dodgers. The Giants are looking for a sweep. Having won on both Friday and Saturday. Beat the Dodgers 8-4 Friday night. Beat them 7-2 yesterday. Matt Cain facing Adriana Gonzalez to begin the inning. The shift is on as the pitch bounces past Posey for ball 1. So you got the Panda all by his lonesome on the left, and then 3 infielders on the right side. Crawford swinging around to play where a second baseman would, and Adrianza out on the outfield grass. This is probably the most common way of doing the shift, although different teams do it differently.
And the thing with Adrian Gonzalez, he's so adept at going the other way, so this could backfire. Now they're moving Panda or Pablo Sandoval way over now to basically he's a shortstop. And when he was bigger, he covered more ground out there.
And Gonzalez shooting the ball the other way, but it carries to Morse out in left field, 1 down.
Well, that's why they have all these charts, Dan, because they had to shift on, and they're selling some foam fingers and Dodger flags, but they have the shift on because they think he'll hit it the other way in the air and pull on the ground, and he hit a ball in the air to left, and the shift worked.
I wonder what kind of charts the Giants have on Andre Ethier facing Matt Cain.
Straight up. So we can figure out how to get him out straight up.
And where in the strike zone should Matt Cain put the baseball to try to get Andre Ethier out? A strike. I mean, this is a pretty big sample size here, too. 30 hits and 68 at bats. This is the highest batting average for any hitter against any pitcher active in the majors right now with 60 or more at bats. I would hope so at 441.
Yeah, no kidding. There's some really bad pitchers out there who pitch a lot.
Not this time. And Belt with a nice play to lead Cain for out number 2.
The thing with Matt Cain that hurt him the last couple of years is the long ball. And here he is. He's throwing a lot more off-speed pitches to start hitters, but tonight he's going with the fastball a little more often. And that's just a great 2-seamer right there that gets down in the zone. You see Ethier just off that ball, and it could be shadows. It could be a great pitch by Matt Cain or a combination of the both, but it's a pretty good pitch to get a guy out on.
So 5 in a row set down by Cain to begin his night. And here's Matt Kemp. And the slow breaking ball misses a little bit up and in. Ball 1 to Kemp, just activated a couple of days ago. 1 for 8 in his first 2 games. And the word Don Mattingly used is rust. You can still see that Kemp is not all the way back. Hasn't played a lot. All the injuries he suffered last year. High drive, left center field. No rust on this swing. Dodgers take the lead.
There's the home run ball for Matt Cain that he's been struggling with the last couple of years, and that's a great sign if you're Don Mattingly that he can drive the ball to left center field. That's his bread and butter. From left center to right center is where he should hit the ball, where he wants to hit the ball. It's a 2-seamer that just stays in the center of the plate, and boy, that's when you're struggling and you're just coming back, those are the ones you can hit.
On Uribe with a bouncer to third. His counterpart Sandoval will throw him out to end the inning. But the Dodgers strike. Matt Kemp with his first home run of the season. Taking to Matt Cain to deep left center field. At the end of 2, the Dodgers lead the Giants 1-0. Well, as we told you, Brandon Belt, who had a great last 2 months, is off to a good start again this year. He is driving the ball, getting to pitches that he was not able to get to, and it started around the beginning of August last year, and you hear a lot of times, Crucky, about adjustments, mechanical adjustments that hitters have made. What has Brandon Belt done?
Well, the one thing he's done, he's moved back in the box, and he told me today that he can see the ball longer. But the other thing is, in order for him to get to the inside pitch, before August of last year, he had his top hand wrapped like this. And he told me, he said, I couldn't get to anything because my hands were so slow. And you look at when you swing, when your wrist is underneath your bat, you're going to either cut underneath the ball or you're going to get jammed because it slows up. Now he has it out in his fingers. And he says he has a lot more whip on the bat. He can get to the inside pitch quicker because he trusts that his hands are going to get there with his palm underneath with his wrist, even with his palm underneath the bat.
There's a foul ball by Ere Adrianza, the second baseman tonight for the Giants. So one of the questions is, apparently this is something the Giants had been talking to him about for a couple of years, but it sounds like he was kind of stubborn and reluctant to make the change.
Yeah, because he had success hitting his way, and once he didn't have success in the big leagues, he thought that it would come. But you can see his hands right there. It's relaxed. He said, I'm so relaxed now. My top hand is relaxed. He said, I know I don't have to force it to get to an inside pitch. I know I can just react to it with my hands, and my hands are going to whip through the zone and get to it.
And not gripping the bat as tightly as he
he said he had it tucked back in his thumb and had his wrist turned. And he said it's just, when you get your bat back in under your, wrapped back in your thumb, it's difficult. It's difficult to get to anything with bat speed. And here's what he did. He said he put his hand like this, and he said my bat was back here in my thumb, and then I wrapped my hand around it. They talk about lining up the knuckles. Well, his knuckles were lined up wrong, no matter what hand you were looking at. So now all he does is shifts his hands this way. Now that the bat is in his, that's a nasty pitch. But now that his bat is in his fingers, he feels like, my swing is more free and easy right now.
Fifth strikeout already for Zack Greinke. Belt hopeful for an opportunity this inning. He'll need somebody to reach base for him to come up.
This one run might be enough for Greinke.
Gave up the base hit on the first pitch of the game to Angel Pagan, and since then 7 in a row, 5 strikeouts and a couple of fly balls. Here's Matt Cain.
Just fun to watch a guy like Zack Greinke pitch. The way he just executes pitch after pitch after pitch, rarely misses his spots. It's like Kurt Schilling. When I talked to Kurt about pitching, he says, if you're going to miss away from the glove, which means if you're setting outside, miss outside. If you're setting in, miss in, and that's what Greinke does.
Now, I'm addingly saying that both Greinke and Clayton Kershaw really are heavily involved, as you might imagine, in calling their own game. They know what they want to do out there. A lot of interaction between pitcher and catcher as Cain's retired 2 down. One word that Mattingly used to describe Greinke is honest. He's going to tell you what he thinks. There's no filter.
No, and that could make him a great analyst someday. But, right now I think pitching is what he does best. But yeah, and that's a great thing if you're a manager. You see so many managers come out and talk to a pitcher, and a veteran pitcher will convince the manager, let me stay in for another hitter, and they trust the veteran. Greinke's going to tell you how he feels. He might tell you to get off the mound, and you might not like it, but I don't think he cares.
Won a Cy Young as a member of the Kansas City Royals back in 2009. Had a phenomenal season. 2 outs, nobody on. Back to the top of the order for Pagan. He takes outside of ball 1. That year, Greinke was 16-8, but obviously, when you hear the other numbers, you hear he could have won a whole lot more than 16 games. He had an ERA of 2.16 in the American League, and look at the strikeout to walk ratio. He was filthy that year. Pagan shortens up on the bat and takes a strike.
I've never liked that, what Angel Pagan just did. Turn and bunt, and he throws an elevated fastball. One of the few times you're going to get a good pitch from Zack Greinke to hit, and he was turning around to bunt to see what the infielders were going to do, not even wanting to bunt, just faking the bunt. You missed a golden opportunity to try to do some damage with 2 outs.
One on the way. curveballs fouled back. And this is some of what we were talking about. So the curveball, low to mid 70s, slider, kind of mid 80s. He can cut the ball. He can throw a 2-seamer, throw a 4-seamer, all at different velocities in the 90s.
Yeah, he's one of the few pitchers, along with Yu Darvish and Tanaka, apparently, that the catcher needs about 7 or 8 fingers.
And he's around the plate. And Pagan does a great job to get to a ball that was right in on his hands, and he's 2 for 2.
Now batting number 9, Brandon Belt.
Now Brandon Belt, as we continue to tell his story, what's changed things around for him towards the end of last year. Look at his hot zones before August 1st. Basically, down the middle was all he could get to. Look at after.
Yeah, and then, you know, you see the up and in, which is a tough pitch for a lefty or a righty, is up and in, and he's getting to that pitch now. And of course, down and in is a danger zone for any left-handed hitter to go there. But he's also getting to the pitch away too, so he doesn't have to cheat in now to get to the pitch. You know, but he can still get to the pitch away.
Ball skips away a few feet from Butera. Pagano won't risk it. Drew Butera getting his first action of the season tonight. A.J. Ellis, the normal starting catcher for the Dodgers, getting the night off. Has played every game and also has a bit of soreness in his knee. Butera is back there.
And that's the thing about Greinke, too, that makes him so difficult to steal on, is he's ahead in the count. And when you get ahead in the count, like he did his last at-bat to Belt with Pagan on first base, you know, the risk of a pitch out is too great for a runner to take.
1 ball, 1 strike. Belt is a guy the Giants are hoping has 25 to 30 home run potential. And when you play for the Giants and spend half of your games in that ballpark, those are pretty good numbers.
Real good numbers, but he has that ability, and I think they think that this is the year he's going to reach it. And if I'm Angel Pagan, I think I'm taking off right here.
He is not. And it's strike 2. Only 3 bases stolen against Zack Greinke all of last season in 7 attempts.
Yeah, I don't even know if Adrian Gonzalez could see a ball thrown over there if Greinke turns and fires it to him.
Got to be a bad feeling when the pitcher's looking at the first baseman just shaking his head back and forth ever so slightly, like, don't throw it to me.
Yeah, I did that even in night games.
Outside 2 and 2. Would you seriously say to a pitcher, give him a signal, I can't see the ball?
San Diego was bad about that later in the season at Jack Murphy, Qualcomm, whatever it was. Jack Murphy when I was there, but it was bad in the first couple innings because they had an open pavilion there and the sun shined right through it.
And strike 3 called to end the inning. 6 strikeouts through 3 scoreless innings for Zack Greinke. Pagan's gotten to him for a couple of hits. Nobody else has done anything at all. And as we go to the bottom of the 3rd, it remains Dodgers 1, Giants nothing. Baseball, Dan Schulman, John Crockett, Buster Olney. The Dodgers on the strength of a home run from Matt Kemp off Matt Cain lead the Giants 1-0. The Dodgers trying to avoid getting swept by their rivals. Zack Greinke, not only can he pitch, he won the Silver Slugger last year as the best hitting pitcher in the National League. He hit .328 and is on deck. Here in the bottom of the 3rd is Drew Butera leads it off.
Well, they've kind of built a rotation like the Braves with the hitters, with Smoltz and Glavine and Maddox who could swing the bat. Now they have Greinke. Kershaw thinks he's a great hitter, and Dan Herron's a really good hitter.
Ground ball to 3rd, and Butera is retired. Now, what do you mean Kershaw thinks he's a really good hitter?
Well, Kershaw thinks he's the best athlete, the fastest runner.
Yeah.
And, he described Greinke as deceivingly slow or sneaky slow.
Yeah. Remember, Kershaw hit a home run. We were right in this ballpark.
We were here
last year, right?
Yeah. He got
against the Giants.
Against Matt Cain.
Yeah.
Matt Cain started that night.
You know who's a pretty good hitter? Hyunjin Ryu is a pretty good hitter.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They got 4 guys who can swing the bat.
But this guy can do it better than any of them. 19 for 58 last year. He also walked 7 times.
I don't know why pitchers don't take this more seriously. I played with some that got DH for in high school. So, okay, we're going to give you a pass. If you're getting DH for in high school, that means you really stink. But, it's something they can work on.
The only two pitchers in the last 25 years, minimum 70 plate appearances, who hit higher in a season than Zack Greinke, Carlos Zambrano and Oral Hershiser. Zambrano hit .337 in 2008, and the Bulldog hit .356 in 1993. And as he reminded us last year, he is the proud owner of a Silver Slug.
And I bet 95% of his hits were the other way. Wasn't a big pull guy.
We need an Oral Hershiser spray chart. You want to see that?
They was to right. But, how many pitchers will look back at an umpire and say, come on, pitch is in. Greinke just did it on the 0-1 pitch. And you got to trust him. He knows the zone when you're hitting 330 or whatever.
Lays off, a ball and 2 strikes. Cain knows the numbers. He's taking this seriously.
I'm sure he was made well aware of that before his start tonight when he was going over the hitters.
Left center field. Diving catch by Pagan.
Barry Larkin better readjust the web gems. What a great play. Closing speed. Is that closing speed? I mean, this ball, you thought when it was off the bat, okay, that's at least a single, maybe in the gap. And this is what they missed. They have that fleet center fielder who can go run balls down. And you don't think Matt Cain's happy about that? One out, and now you don't have the pitcher on base. 2 outs with no one on. Beautiful thing. And a little point to the. I'm sure Matt Cain is pointing back at him.
So once through the order, Cain's retired 8 of 9, but the other guy, Kemp, got him for a home run. That's the only run in the ball game. And back to the top of the order for D. Gordon, who shows bunt and takes inside ball 1.
Well, that's a typical leadoff hitter. I'm going to take a pitch to let my pitcher get a rest.
Yep.
I mean, he jogged 90 feet. I'm sure he's tired.
Well, they tell us that Gordon's put on 15 pounds of muscle between last year and this year. He still looks like you want to give him a good meal and fatten him up a little bit. But Don Mattingly says the ball's got a little more jump off the bat. He is stronger this year.
Yeah, when he first came up, it looked like he could do hula hoop with a Cheerio, Very thin man, but he needed it. He realized he was going to have trouble competing at this level with that weight. And, give him credit. He could. I gained 15 pounds every offseason too, and I was
like every offseason.
I was already chubby before I went to the offseason, so it's not a hard thing to do, Dan, if you just follow my regimen.
Regimen. That's one word for it.
What would you call it?
I didn't know you had a regimen.
Do you know how tough it is to get from the couch to the kitchen? Come on. All winter?
Full count on Gordon. They list him at 5'11", 172. How tall are you?
5'10".
When's the last time you were 172?
10th grade. That's the program.
That's the problem
right there. That's not the problem. That's the program.
Oh, that's the program. Gotcha. That's the regimen. Bouncer to second. Inning over. Terrific defense this inning. Angel Pagan with a sprawling catch out in left center field. Still 1-0 Dodgers. Full night in L.A. We go to the top of the 4th inning. 1-0. The Dodgers lead the Giants, as Pablo Sandoval will lead it off for the Giants. 3-4-5 coming up. Sandoval, Posey, Pence against Zack Greinke, who has struck out 6 in the first 3 innings. 3 swinging, 3 looking. Sandoval hit a fly ball to left field, really more of a sinking liner that Carl Crawford made a catch on back in the first. Well, it may turn into a season-long story for the Giants, especially if Sandoval has a good year, but he's in his walk year, free agent at the end of the season. And reports are that the Giants and Sandoval's agent, have talked. As the curveball is popped up down the left field line, it drops foul. Buster, what do you hear about how far apart they are?
Well, guys, they've actually been exchanging proposals over the last 24 to 48 hours. I am told they are not close to a deal, but there is cautious optimism that a deal will eventually happen. We should keep in mind that the Giants have a history of keeping their own free agents. Last fall, for example, they signed both Hunter Pence and Tim Lincecum before they hit the market.
The difference with Sandoval, of course, is that at least until this year, he had a ton of trouble keeping the weight off. And it was a big concern for the Giants. It was not something that they took lightly as he stays alive. Would you feel comfortable giving this guy, say, a 4-year deal?
You know, I think that's better answered for the Giants people who know him well and you know, that he trusts that he's going to tell them the truth. You know, are you going to be this guy or are you going to be the other guy who we had to leave off a playoff roster because we didn't think you could help us? And I hope he's this guy because, you know, the Giants need him. You know, because you're not going to find many third basemen that do what he does now in baseball. So he'd be a tough guy to replace. But if he's going to say, okay, you know, I got my money, I got my deal, now I can do whatever I want. I don't think he's that type. I don't. I think he's happy right now where he's at as far as his body goes and as far as where he wants to play.
0-2. And a fastball rides up and in.
And you have to remember, too, now, this coaching staff and this manager, you might not want to go anywhere else because that grass ain't always greener no matter how much money they give you. And, I mean, that guy right there he's a peach. He's adorable, Dan. He's an adorable man.
You go way back with him, right?
Yeah, my rookie year, he was on the Padres, and he's, I mean, putting up a Hall of Fame resume.
2 World Series championships, and you know, very serious about his craft, but doesn't take himself too seriously.
No. Got a nice chuckle when I said that if he gets in the Hall of Fame, that guy that does the sculpting is going to be
have his work cut out for him.
Yeah, his work cut out for him with that one.
Terrific changeup there by Greinke, and it was all that Sandoval could do to get the end of the bat on it. One down.
For the Giants, number 28,
well, the 0-2 pitch, he threw him a high fastball, tried to get him to speed up his body, and when he does, looking for another fastball, you see how out front he is, and that's just a reach, and I don't care how fast you are or how much weight you've lost, you ain't beating that one out.
Now Posey, caught looking his first time up. And again, not to belabor the point, but it was a 79-mile-an-hour changeup, the ground out to Sandoval. 73-mile-an-hour curveball. Sliders at 84, 86, 87. Fastballs anywhere from 90 to 93. 4 pitches, 4 different ranges of velocity, and he can throw all of them for strikes. Got in on the hands of Posey with a fastball. 2 down. Now Hunter Pence. And he put on a show in batting practice today.
The thing about Hunter is you know, usually your first couple rounds you try to shoot the ball the other way just to get your timing and get loose. He's loose when he gets to the ballpark, and he hit that one on the roof. I mean, that's wall. And ho-hum. He's a show. I mean, you'd like to see him in the home run derby because every swinging BP's max effort, and I don't think he would tire out in the home run derby.
And he chokes up on the bat too and still generates a lot of power.
Well, he said that he had a poster of Barry Bonds as a young man or kid, and saw that Barry Bonds choked up and thought if it's good enough for Barry Bonds, it's good enough for me.
Comes Butera, and he won't have a play. But he'll make a friend. And there's the poster you were talking about.
Yeah, and two very similar hitters. I mean, Barry was a free swinger who never walked. And, I mean, the similarities end between the two.
Yeah.
Once the pitch is being delivered, they both choke up, but that's where it ends.
Pence nice and still in the batter's box.
Very
like
still,
was,
never swings at a bad pitch. And Barry was just, he was just wild up there. I mean,
another ground ball. Boy, Greinke is on top of his game. He just took care of 3, 4, 5 with 3 weak ground balls. We'll hear from Giants manager Bruce Bochy when we come back. Going to the bottom of the 4th, the Dodgers lead the Giants 1-0. Time now for some FaceTime, brought to you by Edward Jones, Buster Olney, and Bruce Bochy.
Bruce, we saw Matt Cain give up a home run to Matt Kemp. Power numbers against him have gone up the last couple of years. What's the difference?
Well, I think it's fair to say he's probably made a few more mistakes than what we're accustomed to. He made a great adjustment in the second half last year and threw the ball very well, and he's thrown the ball well tonight. They have a tough lineup, and they have a bunch of guys in there. If you make a mistake, can leave the ballpark just like us. But I like the way he's throwing right now.
You guys are hitting in the shadows against Zack Greinke. How are you feeling about your at-bats?
Well, he's tough enough, even at night or a day game. But twilight, he's even tougher. And the guys are saying they can't see the ball very well. So hopefully it turns around here in a couple innings.
Bruce, thanks.
He is tough, day, night, or twilight, but maybe especially so right now. And it looks like the worst is over if you're a hitter. Certainly should be gone maybe in the next inning or so. There's a ball popped up by Crawford back at the plate. This will find the seats.
And that's the thing. I mean, you don't ever want to begrudge a teammate of getting hits, but you can't see the ball. No one can see the ball, but Angel Pagan has two hits, and you're thinking, how's he doing this? It's not by accident. He's not lucky. What does he see that we don't?
And the Dodgers only have 1 hit. Matt Kemp hit it about 400 feet.
Yeah, there's got to be some questions being asked in that dugout.
Crawford popped up his first time up. And did he go? 1 ball, 2 strikes. Won't even appeal it as Crawford stays alive. He'll be followed by Hanley Ramirez and then Adrian Gonzalez. And I think the discussion here is, was that a ball taken, or did that, Crawford was pointing to the bat as if he was saying that's not a foul ball. But this discussion continues. I'm wondering if Marty Foster called that a foul ball, and if it's actually 0-2, and it is. There's the signal right there. He is saying that was a foul ball and that the ball ticked the bat. And Crawford's got quite a case. Wasn't close to the bat.
I mean, unless you consider 8 inches close, then no, it wasn't close.
Now a fly ball headed toward the right field corner and foul deep down the line. Look at that pitch. Looked like a changeup diving down and away from Crawford for out number 1.
It was 86 mile an hour. Looked like a really hard changeup by Matt Cain. And I'll tell you what, if he throws that pitch with 2 strikes, he's going to get a lot of outs. Look at the movement on that ball down and away, and it's too close to take with 2 strikes, and it's a pitch that sadly you can't hit it. And it's the perfect pitch, so there's nothing you can do if you're Carl Crawford.
They're counting on Cain, obviously, to be a big part of the rotation, as he's been for many years. They've got left-hander Madison Bumgarner, who appears to be coming right into his prime and developing into one of the top starters in baseball. Tim Lincecum, of course, is back with the Giants, re-signed in the offseason to a 2-year deal, and Bruce Bochy was very pleased with his first outing, although he gave up 4 runs in 6 innings. He didn't walk a batter, and he struck out 7. They liked the stuff. And don't forget that Tim Hudson is now a member of the Giants and looking sharp. Now Hanley Ramirez sends one deep down the left field line and gone for a home run. Second home run of the night for the Dodgers.
I told him to do something special for us tonight, and he said, "What do you want, Poppy?" I said, "I want a home run." And lo and behold, there's that changeup again. They threw to Carl Crawford that went down and away to Crawford, but down and into Hanley Ramirez. And Hanley, this is a beautiful swing. Look at the balance, the extension, the follow through, the high follow through, and he hit that one so far that the bullpen didn't get it. That's a long one.
There's Adrian Gonzalez right near the back of the bullpen. A deep home run for Ramirez, his first of the season. He and Kemp have homered, and it's 2-0 Dodgers. Now Adrian Gonzalez rips one fair down the right field line. And he can coast into second base.
Adrian Gonzalez has one of the prettiest swings in the game, and that's another pitch. Look how far Posey had to move his glove. Wanted that pitch down and away. Cain left it middle in, and he's lucky that ball's only a double because Adrian Gonzalez has that ability to take that inside pitch and hit it over the fence. I mean, the shadows are gone now. It looks like it's better visibility, and Matt Cain keeps missing his spots, and he's not throwing 95. He could be in trouble.
Here's Ethier, grounded out his first time up. And back to the changeup for strike one.
Well, that was the fear with Matt Cain now as a pitcher, is the fact that his first pitches in 2010, 69% were fastballs. It's decreased every year since then. Now, so far this year, only 35% of his first pitch are fastball. And it's great if you're getting ahead with the off-speed pitch, but if you're not, you're asking for trouble, especially against a powerful lineup like the Dodgers.
And the theory Bruce Bochy talked about a little bit is he is kind of sensitive to the home runs he gave up. He gave up 23 last year, the most in his career. Maybe not trusting his stuff quite as much. Instead of trying to challenge guys on the first pitch, trying to trick them a little bit.
Yeah, he's trying to get ahead with off-speed stuff because he doesn't think guys are going to swing at it, and consequently he's getting behind and then getting hurt with this deeper in the count.
2 balls and a strike on Ethier.
And this is what makes the Dodgers lineup so tough. That he knows how Andre Ethier hits against him, and he knows though that Matt Kemp's up next, who's already taken him deep. This is a pick your poison at bat right here for Andre Ethier, or for Matt Cain.
3-1.
Well, this is where when you hit a guy like Ethier hits Matt Cain, you're 3-1. You're zoned in on one certain pitch against every pitcher, but you know if you're going to see it out of his hand, you're going to get a good swing here.
He got a pitch to hit, but he lifts a fly ball into medium depth left center. Easy play for Pagan. So now Kemp, who took Cain deep in his first at bat tonight.
The first pitch, Dan, was a slider that he threw for a ball. He got behind, and he has to come with the fastball. Middle, center cut. And, when Matt Kemp is going good, that's a pitch where he decides, do I hit this out to right center, left center, dead center? Well, he decided left center.
Remember, Kemp coming back from injury said things like, I'm not a fourth outfielder. I deserve to play every day. I'm going to play every day. And maybe playing with a bit of a chip on his shoulder to try to prove to people that he can once again be the player he was 3 years ago.
Yeah, and when I talked to him before the game, he mentioned that, you come up to the big leagues. He said it's different than when you're getting your minor league at-bats.
Will the park hold it? It will not! Another home run for Matt Kemp.
We talked about it, the power at left center to right center is where he needs to hit the ball. Don't worry about hitting it down either line. His aim should be that way, and that's what he can do. And when he's healthy, I don't care what you say about anything about Matt Kemp. When he's healthy, he's one of the best players in the game of baseball. I don't care who you want to throw up there against him. And this is one here. He hits one to left center's first at bat, and this is what you love, though. That pitch is middle-in fastball, and now you see the hands working. You see how the hands came inside, the right elbow tucked into his rib cage, and he has the ability. A lot of guys, that's a single or double the other way. Matt Kemp has the ability to hit that ball out the other way on pitches in. Matt Cain right now has no way to pitch him unless he can throw breaking balls early for strikes.
Weren't we told before the game he looked a little rusty?
Well, he told me before the game he was rusty. He said, you can't simulate big league pitching. Yep. He said, first thing in the minor league games when you're playing against those kids, he said, the first thing your thought is, don't get killed with the pitch. He said, they're all throwing 3/4 and slinging it 98 miles an hour. He said, when you get up to the big leagues, he said, these guys can pinpoint their pitches, and he said it's a lot more difficult.
Juan Uribe, the batter. And the inning is over, but not before the Dodgers do some serious damage. Matt Kemp hits his second home run of the night. Hanley Ramirez also homered. Kemp got all of this, deep right center. 2 at-bats, 2 homers for Kemp. 4-0 Dodgers. 4-0. The Dodgers lead the Giants as we go to the top of the 5th inning. 3 home runs in the game for the Dodgers, 2 by Matt Kemp, and 1 for Hanley Ramirez. Time now to get some FaceTime, brought to you by Edward Jones. Don Mattingly with the Buster Olney.
Donnie, Matt Kemp with his first 2 homers of the year. How is his swing different this year from last year?
I think we've seen early in spring training that the power was back. Looked like he was getting extension with that front arm with the high finish. Obviously the ankle wasn't there yet, but we did see a lot of good swings in spring training and a lot of the pop back.
Zack Greinke was good in his first start. Seems even better tonight. What's different?
I think he's just getting stronger. This guy, he just missed a little bit of time there in spring training with the calf. He's always good. Thought he was good last time out with his off-speed stuff. Tonight looks like he's got a little better fastball.
Donnie, thanks.
And this is trouble now. A lead for a guy who's pitching about as well as he can in Zack Greinke. Pagan's got 2 hits off him. That's it. He's retired everybody else. He's got 6 strikeouts through 4. And now he's got a 4-run lead. Michael Morse, Brandon Crawford, and Ere Adrianza here in the 5th inning for the Giants. Morse with a fly ball to right field his first time up. The Giants started the year taking 3 out of 4 at Arizona. They have won the first 2 in this series. They play their first 22 games of the season against division rivals. What figures to be a very interesting year in the National League West. I think most people felt coming into the year the Dodgers were the favorites. That $235 million payroll has a habit of jumping out at you, but it's not like the Giants are pinching pennies or anything. They've spent $154 million on their team, the 7th most in baseball.
And a lot of that, though, was on their own guys to keep them.
Yep.
Pence and Lincecum.
In your mind, are the Giants the most serious threat to the Dodgers in the division?
Yes.
Yep.
And I think Colorado offensively is as good as anyone in this division, but you worry about their pitching. They have some young kids who might be up at some point this year. Arbitration, that big arbitration thing, that we're going to keep them down so they lose a year arbitration or whatever. But I'm not sure if their starting pitching is good enough to compete with the Giants and the Dodgers. I think the Giants are going to be there all year.
San Diego got a win today. They beat the Marlins 4-2. It's the first time this season that San Diego has scored 4 runs in a game. Morris hits one off the end of the bat toward right center field. It'll drop for a base hit. Trapped nicely, actually, by Ethier on a bounce. And Morris content with a leadoff single. Also, Arizona played Colorado today, and the Diamondbacks got a much-needed win as they go to 2-7 on the season. They beat Colorado 5-3. Mark Trumbull for Arizona had another home run. He's got 5 home runs already this year.
Yeah, I think that he's going to have a monster year because he's away from home. He can just go play. I couldn't imagine playing near where I grew up, 10 minutes from his stadiums where he was playing, and he's getting bombarded every day with tickets and get me this and get me that. It's I think being in Arizona is close enough to where he grew up that it's a short flight for his family, but I think he's going to be more relaxed. And
hitters love that park too. Love that park. Talk about the backdrop, the batter's eye.
Ball carries to all fields.
Brandon Crawford, the batter, with a count of ball and a strike. Crawford struck out his first time up.
And this is really the first inning that Greinke's actually pitched with no shadows. And we saw what happened to Matt Cain in the inning he pitched without shadows. 2 home runs and gave up 3 runs. Morris leadoff single by Morris. See what we got.
In on his hands and pulled foul. ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues tomorrow. Baseball Tonight Game Day live from Fenway Park at 4:30 Eastern on ESPN2. You can be part of the telecast, have questions to BBTN for your favorite Rangers or Red Sox players to answer live. Then Rangers and Red Sox tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, Monday Night Baseball presented by USAA. And then the Astros travel north of the border to Toronto for Wednesday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Ripped foul this time. And it remains a ball and 2 strikes on Crawford. The Texas Rangers, who lost just about everybody in their rotation in the spring, it's very early. They're only a week in, but Darvish came back and pitched well today.
Great.
And, week by week, they're getting guys back. They're getting guys closer. And they're probably still going to be a force in that division.
Yeah, without question. And, their offense is different now. I don't think it's that big, let's pound you, but they still got guys who are clutch hitters, and Adrian Beltre's as good as they get. And Alex Rios, a full year in Texas, it's going to be a fun watch for him. In the games I watched him play last week, seemed like he hit everything hard.
Hoping to get Matt Harrison and Colby Lewis back in the next couple of weeks. Eric Holland will be longer than that, but boy, by the middle of the season, they could have the rotation they thought they might have. And a lot of good names in there if they can all get healthy.
And that takes some of your starters back to the bullpen where they were more effective last year.
Lots of business, lots of people. Dodgers have been the talk of the town over the last couple of years after the ownership change and all the money they put into this team, the trades they made, the signings they made. Crawford gone, and he knew it. Back in 2012, the Guggenheim Baseball Management Group purchased the Dodgers for $2.1 billion. And then, what did they do? They started bringing people in. The big trade with the Red Sox, they signed Puig to a $42 million deal. Kershaw, 7 years, over $200 million. And 4 of the 20 largest active contracts in a baseball total value, they're members of the Dodgers.
just funny every time you see of a new signing for the Dodgers and they have a press conference for it, and rarely do you ever see an owner or one of the owners tower over every player. But you saw Magic shaking Zack Greinke's hand.
Yep.
There's probably a 6-inch, 7-inch height difference between the two. 8 inches maybe. I thought it was Greinke. 6 foot, 6'1",
Magic
8-9 inches.
Adrianza takes a strike, and it's 0-2. You saw Yasiel Puig there, animated in the dugout with the Mark McGuire, the batting coach for the Dodgers. Puig is out of the lineup. You can see he's got that left hand. Looks like maybe a soft splint or something on it. He went for an MRI today on the thumb. Dove headfirst into first base yesterday and injured the thumb. We don't know. We haven't heard. We know he went for the MRI. I haven't heard if they have the results yet. But Kemp comes back. Puig gets hurt. Well, first Puig showed up late Friday, so he got pulled out of the lineup Friday when Kemp was activated. So yesterday they actually had all 4 healthy, which is just the 3rd time since Puig got to the Dodgers in June. All 4 outfielders have been healthy. And now Puig hurt, and at this point, we don't know how long. Here's the play we were talking about, trying to beat it out.
Well, this is one of those, hey, I'm late on Friday. I'm going to show you how much I care. I'm going to show you how much I hustle. And honestly, I mean, you're running to first base. The only thing you can see is the base and the first baseman. And when Brandon Belt, drifted out to shallow right field to get the throw from Brandon Crawford, I mean, you pretty kind of understand, or it was that Hicks at shortstop, but you pretty much understand that you don't need to slide it, but he did anyway, and he got hurt.
Ground ball to first. Look at Gonzalez, and that's all they'll get as he'll force the lead runner 2 down.
Batting next,
So it's already been an eventful season for Yasiel Puig, and we're still in early April. A couple of injuries, and Don Mattingly's comments when they were in Australia. You go back to last year, had some driving offenses, was late, and obviously the base running issues, overthrowing the cutoff man, and so forth. And I mean, the Dodgers are not ignoring this. They're trying to police this any way that they can. Is it working? Is it going to take?
Well, I asked every player today. I said, what is this a distraction? No. A couple of them said the only distraction is that we had to answer questions about it. But what do we know? He's late. It's okay, he's late. But I think some of the veterans have talked to him. I think some of the veterans are explained to him that this can't happen, and that's where it has to come from. Don Mattingly can talk to him. The coaches can talk to him. They can fine him all they want. But when your peers tell you that's such a strong, resonates so strongly within you that your peers think you better shape up. And look, is it going to be hard to send him out to teach him a lesson? You have 3 great outfielders. No, they can do that. But I think the fear is if they do that they're going to lose him. And he might say, this isn't any fun anymore. Because he does play with fun. He does have fun when he's playing.
Don Mattingly told us before the game he genuinely believes that Puig just got confused. It wasn't a malicious thing. He just got mixed up on Friday and showed up late. And he genuinely believes that Puig was really sorry about it as Cain sends one down the left field line. A base hit for the Giants pitcher off of Greinke. 2 on, 2 out for the Giants here in the 5th inning, down 4-0. And if this causes Don Mattingly's blood pressure to rise, he hides it pretty well. He keeps it inside.
I don't think it does, because there's so many other things to worry about than a guy showing up late. And look, they addressed it. They've disciplined him. They fined him. They've done what they had to do. They benched him for a game, and that's all fine and dandy. But it's like the player said, look, we didn't go up to the bat on Friday, opening day, and think to ourselves, I don't think I can get a hit because Yasiel Puig showed up late. That was the furthest thing from their mind. They didn't lose Friday because he was late.
Right. There's Pagan, 2 for 2 off Greinke. We shouldn't forget that Donnie Baseball played for George Steinbrenner with the Yankees, so it's not like he played in a serene, calm environment all the time. There was stuff going on.
He wasn't up in Minnesota or somewhere like that where, and look, if it wasn't Yasiel Puig, if it was someone else, it's no big story.
1-1 on Pagan. So if we get a report during the game tonight on Puig's thumb, we'll obviously pass it along. Had an MRI before the game. That could be a tricky injury. That could be something minor. That could be something serious. You just never know.
It's his bottom hand, so it's his it's his strong hand on the bat that you generate your power with. We'll see how that plays out, but I mean, Buster's down there. Why don't you just walk in there and ask him? He ain't doing nothing.
Go get him, Buster.
I'm sure Mark wouldn't care.
Yeah. Maybe Tim Wallach knows. Doesn't seem too tense. Certainly having some laughs with a couple of his coaches.
No, and that if they need him to hit late in the game, that thing will come off his hand.
Dodgers off tomorrow. Don Mattingly saying if they don't need him tonight, could have a couple of days off before they need him again. And Greinke freezes Pagan to record strikeout number 8. 2 men stranded. Dodgers up 4-0. This is the 125th year of the Giants playing the Dodgers. Obviously started on the East Coast and continued on the West Coast, and about as even as you can get. And that hit right there by Bobby Thompson in a Game 3 of the 2 out of 3 playoff to decide the 1951 National League pennant. Arguably the most famous hit in baseball history. Certainly right up there.
More famous than the Ruth called shot, supposedly. Called shot?
Supposedly called shot.
Well, that was a special day in my life. My oldest brother was born that day.
And you thought he was going to be named Bobby.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, if that's what I mean. If it's the most famous home run, my dad would have named him Bobby. But he named him Joe instead.
But how about this? So the Giants and Dodgers both, Brooklyn and New York, obviously. The Giants are 12.5 games back in the middle of the season. Storm back. They have a 16-game winning streak. And then later on a 7-game winning streak. They forced the tie. 2 out of 3 with a trip to the World Series. Back in those days, you won the league, you won the pennant, you went right to the World Series. There were no championship series, no division series, nothing like that.
No wild card?
No wild card, nothing like that. And the Dodgers took a 4-1 lead to the bottom of the 9th in the 3rd and deciding game when Bobby Thompson hit the home run off Ralph Branca to win it. And years later, of course, the allegations came out that the Giants knew what was coming, that they were getting the signs, but even Ralph Branca, to his credit, said you still got to hit the ball.
Still got to hit it.
Still got to hit the ball.
Well, I had the great pleasure of playing in a golf outing for the Champions Tour in one of their pro-ams, and I got that breakfast with Ralph Branca and Mitch Williams, who gave up 2 of the more infamous home runs, depending on who you're rooting for, and they commiserated over that. And I said, look, I'm playing golf today with Ben Crenshaw. I don't want to hear about you two, how miserable you are. There's something that happened years ago. It's over. Deal with it. Get over it. I'm going to go play golf with one of the best putters in the history of golf. That's the way I ended it. Didn't want to listen.
Just outside. How did, in the immediate aftermath of the home run Mitch Williams gave up to Joe Carter in 1993, how did Williams react to that? How did he get over that?
He stood up and answered the questions, and the thing with him was he was trying to throw the ball up and away.
There's a high drive to left field. Morse back with room. Butera retired 1 down.
He was trying to throw it up and away because he said he had success against Joe Carter throwing pitches up and away, and kind of pulled it down and in, and Joe kind of pulled it down and out. But he handled it well. I mean, the Phillies, I think, knee-jerk reaction. They traded him immediately after that in that winter to Houston, and he wasn't happy about that because, they thought, well, he'll never be able to pitch again in Philly. But if you know Mitch, and any closer really, I forgot what happened the day before because today's a new day, and he kind of still lives that way. I'm not sure that's good or bad, but that's him.
Well, that home run in 1951 and that call you heard was by Russ Hodges, who was doing the radio call for the Giants back then. That's the call that's kind of endured through times. That's the television was in its infancy then. That was a radio call you heard. The Giants win the pennant over and over and over again. Now the Giants would go on to lose the World Series that year to the Yankees, but that's a big one. What are you looking at?
They lost the World Series.
I know, after all that.
Yeah.
After that whole production.
If you know you're going to lose the World Series, you'd have popped up. But I think Ralph Greinke and both Bobby Thompson have handled it with class. They've done signings together.
Yeah.
And, they've signed the picture, shot heard around the world. And they show Bobby running to first base and Ralph, with his head down. And both of them have handled it like class human beings that they are.
I mean, you can make a case when you look at great baseball rivalries, not just what they are now, but what they've been for decades and decades and decades. I mean, this one obviously is right up near the top of the list. You can make a case this is the biggest, baddest, best baseball rivalry in the history of the game, going back 125 years and all the battles they've had with one another.
Yeah, I still think Yankees Red Sox and I think that started back in 1919 when they sold Babe Ruth to the Yankees and.
Oops.
Yeah, kind of. That scout got fired, I'm sure, but. And I think since Babe Ruth is this historic figure in baseball, arguably one of the greatest players ever.
Look at this ball. Look where Greinke's hit this one. Deep left center and on a bounce for a ground rule double. But for a great catch a couple of innings ago by Pagan, Greinke would be 2 for 2.
Well, he saw the ability that Angel Pagan has to come in on the ball and make diving catches. So he thought, well, let me see if you can go back on the ball. But that's not a pitcher swing. It's a pitcher hitting, but not a pitcher swing. And here's why you can tell. Watch after he hits this ball. You see the perfect balance, the L on the back leg, the elbow tucked in. But when he finished, he had a little bat flip there. I think he thought he might have got it. But, I mean, a ground rule double is pretty good. And then he gives it I don't need my jacket because we're in Los Angeles. It's always pretty here.
Here's D. Gordon. So Greinke has thrown 5 shutout innings. He has struck out 8, and he's got a double.
And got robbed of another hit. Pretty full day so far.
And a guy who had a habit of stopping losing streaks last year for the Dodgers, 6-0 with an ERA under 2 in 10 starts after a Dodger loss. And they're coming off a loss here tonight. Kershaw's on the DL. It's extremely early, but you never want to get swept by your rivals, and Greinke doing everything he can to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, that's a guy. Watch this. Look at the little bat flip. Look at that, huh? That's a pitcher who's gotten a few hits before. Those ones that never get a hit and they do that, that's something they practice. Because and they'll tell you, if I ever get a hit, this is what I'm going to do. That's like nothing. Zack Greinke, come on. Another double, ho-hum. If he steals third now we have a story.
A little payback, too, because Cain got a base hit off him last time out. 1-1, the count on Gordon. It's pulled foul. Sandoval was way in at third. Belt was slightly in at first. They'll back up now, you would think, a little bit with a 1-2 count on Gordon, although Sandoval's still just even with the bag. Got to respect the speed.
And even with 2 strikes, you can look at where Sandoval's still playing, and Belt's, that's halfway. That's not back. Now Belt's moving back a little bit, but Pablo's still on the grass.
And Gordon is called out on strikes. 2 down.
Oh, there's that slider, and that's a backdoor slider by Matt Cain, and that's a good pitch because lefties give up on that pitch. They think it's away, and then it breaks at the last second over the outside corner, and D. Gordon got caught looking.
Carl Crawford 0 for 2. Big cut and a foul back.
I know it's the 5th inning, but didn't we have a screen in front of us before?
No, John.
Whoa. I thought there was a screen.
I think maybe just during the on-camera portion. Just for that first minute of the broadcast a couple of hours ago.
I thought things got clear.
We might want to tweak your regimen a little bit. Belts over to Cain to end the inning as the Greinke double is stranded. We've seen some really good defense tonight. Angel Pagan making a sprawling catch earlier. Barry Larkin's going to show you his web gems of the day when we come back.
Ravage, Barry Larkin, the game in a moment. Barry's best, the 3 best defensive plays.
We will be doing this every single Sunday, so we're looking forward to this. First one, Sam Fold. Every single time this kid gets on the field, you see energy, energy, energy here with the sliding catch. Alexi Ramirez, of course you knew we were going to have a shortstop doing this. Alexi Ramirez showing how the Cubans get it done. Hawk Harrison on the call right there. And Angel Pagan, El Caballo Loco, says, Zack Greinke, you can hit the ball, pero aquí no cae. It does not drop right here. So we're going a little Latin flavor.
You went Cuban, Latin, you went all those different things.
How about that?
The Hall of Famer, Barry's best, and he says it's what happened right here on this field. Defense is certainly going to be one of the things that these two teams are going to have to continue to play if they're going to win this division.
And make your web, Jim, so we can talk about you here.
I hear that. That's Barry Larkin each and every Sunday. Barry's best. John and Dan, back inside to you guys.
All right, fellas, thank you. Love to shine the spotlight on a little defense and a great catch by Pagan tonight. But the Giants need some offense right now. Zack Greinke has stymied them on 4 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts through 5 innings in his second start of the season. Remember, Greinke had the slight calf problem at the beginning of the spring, didn't make the trip to Australia. And needed some time off to get the calf right, but he certainly looks like he's 100% healthy right now. Putting up a good line right now as he is Juan Uribe talk things over as we go to the 6th. Belt's already been announced. Think everything's all right with Greinke? It's a pretty long conversation there.
Yeah, when he was on second base, when he hit the double, he was crouched down a lot, and it looked like right there he called Juan Uribe over to give him some time. I don't know if he's tired or what, but you mentioned the calf issue, and you wonder if there's something going on here with Greinke.
Well, last thing, and not to speculate that there is an injury, but last thing they need is another injury to a pitcher with Clayton Kershaw on the DL. And really it seems uncertain right now when he'll be back. Brian Wilson is on the DL with an elbow problem. Cautiously optimistic it's minor, some nerve irritation. They don't think it's anything more serious than that. He's had Tommy John surgery twice, so.
I mean, there he goes again, crouching down like there's something lower back, or I don't want to speculate because I'm not a doctor, but he didn't do it the whole game. Why start now?
Belt gets a piece. They've also got Josh Beckett, Chad Billingsley, both trying to come back from injuries as well. Greinke's a guy they need to be right at the top of that rotation until Kershaw comes back. And there was a big delay before this pitch, and maybe that's just the his comfortable position for taking a breather. So
Angel Pagan out in center was on one knee, and maybe it was that much time between pitches, but
they need that guy back.
There's a bunch of other teams, 14 other teams in the National League don't think so.
Yeah. But 4 of them in the National League West specifically, pretty excited. Now Belt drives the ball. Right field, deep and gone. 4th home run of the season for Brandon Belt.
Well, that's what he was talking about, Dan, being able to get to that pitch and being able to drive it, pull it with power. This is a changeup from Greinke, or slider, cutter, whatever, 83 miles an hour, and that's the one. He got to that pitch so quick. Look at his top hand. He's not wrapping it over the bat now. He's getting to it quicker. You see how that top hand, the hand, the thumbs up or the palm up, palm down. Before he was palm up and knuckles up on his top hand, and that's why he can stay on that ball and get to it quicker than he was in the past and hit that ball out of the park.
Now Sandoval. And a strike at the belt.
I'm not liking this Pablo taking too many pitches. I mean, he's taken 4 already.
So Brandon Belt with his 4th home run in 7 games to begin the season. And for the Giants, their 10th home run as a team already. Got a fastball by him at 91. It's 0-2.
That's the hardest ball Greinke's thrown tonight. It's 93 miles an hour. Perhaps he's not hurt.
Giants, it took them 18 games to hit 10 home runs last year. It's taken them 7 games to hit 10 home runs this year. Missed outside, tried to backdoor him with a slider.
Tell you what, the way the Yankees are going, it's going to take them about 60 games to get to 10 homers.
Bronx Bombers have 1 home run, hit their first today. Brett Gardner hit.
And that power guy, Brett Gardner, got him on the board.
So Matt Kemp's got more home runs tonight than the Yankees have on the season.
Year. Yeah.
Two and two. The count remains on Sandoval. Run in. Nobody out. Posey on deck. And the Giants have cut into the lead, now down by 3. Giants winning the first 2 games of the series. Curveball. Greinke's got it. That's your garden variety 1 unassisted. Aerial coverage tonight provided by Goodyear with superior performing tires that knock it out of the park. Goodyear, more driven. Buster Posey, the batter. Well, we wondered whether he's favoring something, and then wouldn't you know it, he's got to go make a play. Have a look, Crucky.
Well, look at the fielding position. Perfect. Squared up to the home plate. Once the pitch got to Pablo Sandoval, and the quick first step. You don't have to be fast to be quick, Dad. And I know that Clayton Kershaw told me he's sneaky slow, but he's pretty sneaky quick, too, on that play.
Good breaking ball, and Posey to a knee, comes up empty, 0-1. Jamie Wright is up in the Dodger pen.
Yeah, that tells you something. Where's Buster at? He needs to be in the Dodger dugout. Get Puig and now Greinke.
Remember, Don Mattingly, we mentioned this before, told us that more than anything, Greinke's honest. If there's something wrong, he'll go up to him and say, can't do it, got to do it, whatever the case may be. So we'll see if they have a conversation at the end of an inning. Whatever it might be, if anything, it hasn't been serious enough that it's warranted a trip to the mound.
Yeah, because it's just strange because, you know, Crawford, the second hitter, made the last out, so it's not a situation where you're going to pinch hit and you know, double switch or anything. I mean, it's not that situation where you're going to pitch hit for Greinke, and he's pitching well.
90 pitches on the night. Ethier in right center. 2 down. Major League Baseball, People Magazine, and Target are looking for outstanding teachers in your community. 30 teachers will be recognized at the 2014 All-Star Game, July 15th. Log on to allstarteachers.com to nominate your favorite teacher today. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. This is a no-doubter. Hunter Pence goes the other way. Second home run of the inning for the Giants.
Well, this is the issue you face with Hunter Pence, and there's Greinke again crouching behind the mound, is he can hit the high ball, and he can hit it far to all fields. We saw the batting practice he took. Now, here's another one where Butera wants it down, and that's just up in the zone. Watch these hands, though. They drop, they drop, they drop, and then they come back up, and that's how you can get to that high pitch, because he pops them back, bounces them back up. And I mean, when he hit that ball, if you weren't watching, you would swear that a lefty power hitter hit it.
Well, Ether took about one step and said,
Kemp didn't even move,
yeah.
and that went halfway up in those stands.
And here comes the skipper. So Greinke's night appears as if it's going to come to a close. Has the signal been made? He's going to stay.
It's interesting. That's
Michael Moore's the batter. And the first pitch slider's fouled off.
Yeah, that was a there's 2 outs. I'm going to try to go the other way and hit a little broken back single.
Yeah.
Trying to hit that big scoreboard out there in left center.
We've had 5 home runs in the game tonight. We're kind of checking on the progress of Rodriguez and Wright. Didn't mean to hit it off the end of the bat, but he did, and the inning is over. But 2 home runs for the Giants. Brandon Belt, his 4th. Hunter Pence, his 1st. And the Giants have cut the deficit in half here this inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th at Dodger Stadium, 4-2 LA. Bottom of the 6th inning here at Dodger Stadium. A couple of home runs in the top half of the inning for the Giants. Home runs by Brandon Belt and Hunter Pence, and all of a sudden it's 4-2. Zack Greinke was getting some handshakes in the dugout, so it appears that his night is done after 6 innings. Hanley Ramirez leads off the bottom of the 6th against Matt Cain. Sends one down the left field line, and this is going to get down and into the corner. And Ramirez is now 2 for 3 with a home run and a double.
Looks like we're jump-starting the season for Hanley Ramirez. That's just a hanging, breaking ball, and that's another pitch right there they just got out in front of. Kind of hit it off the end of the bat, but he's so strong he can hit it down in that corner. And that's another mistake by Matt Cain that he kind of got away with by only having a double hit by Hanley Ramirez.
The 6th hit of the night for the Dodgers. And they're all extra base hits. 3 homers, 3 doubles. There's Adrian Gonzalez.
Why stop at first, Dan? Just a roadblock to home.
Ground ball will move the runner.
That's a great at-bat by Adrian Gonzalez. Even though he's the 4th hitter and an RBI guy, he wasn't trying just to hit a weak grounder to the right side and get him over. He was trying to get a hit right there, but it was a pull. He was trying to get a pull hit, and he gets Hanley Ramirez to third base now, and got a guy that's hitting $1.5 million against the guy pitching, and you got a good feeling about this, getting this run in from third base.
Giants bring the infield in. Ethier has grounded out and flied out. Looking to add on here after the Giants just got 2 in the top half of the inning. The Dodgers looking to extend the lead with Ramirez at third and 1 out. that shin guard get it. By Ethier's reaction, it doesn't look like it. Looks like it missed the shin guard.
I had to hit right above it. If that thing was like an inch higher, he'd be fine. I like it when you hear announcers say, "Oh, that hurts." No kidding. I mean, just whack yourself in the leg with a hammer and see how that feels. It's pretty much the same feeling. Yeah, just above
missed.
It.
Yep.
I hate when that happens. Yeah, that doesn't go away within the at-bat.
No. What's worse, the one off the shin or the one off the inside of the foot or the toe or something like that?
Well, I've done them all. Let me think. Well, I broke my toe once hitting one off it, but so that didn't feel too good. But the one in the shin, because you know you're going to do it again, and that's the thing. You don't know when, but you know it's going to happen again. And before it gets better, that's when you're going to do it.
He did not go, a ball and 2 strikes, and you know they're probably going to keep throwing the ball in on you because pitchers are like that.
Yeah, that's why we don't like them. But you know, the best pitch really is because now you're thinking, I don't want to do this again, and you start pulling off. You see Ethier, you know, the next 2 pitches, he was trying to get out in front, you know, so he didn't do it again, and Cain keeps throwing that changeup, and he almost got him to swing for strike 3 there and keep handing Ramirez at third base with less than 2 outs.
This will be plenty. Pagano will make the catch up against the fence, and an easy tag and score for Ramirez to make it 5-2. And that'll bring out the star of the night offensively so far for the Dodgers and Matt Kemp.
There's the first home run. It's a fastball, pretty much center cut that he hits, but this is the one. He wanted the ball down and away, did Buster Posey, and Cain ran it a little bit up and in, and that's a pitch you never have to worry about if his shoulder's healthy, but he can take that pitch middle in and drive it as far as he did to right center field. That tells you that shoulder is no concern to Matt Kemp right now.
Had shoulder issues, hamstring issues, had ankle surgery in October of last year, and breaking out here tonight in his 3rd game since being activated.
But that's what makes him so good, because you know most power hitters, you want to jam, you want to try to get in. When he can hit the ball the other way on an inside pitch like that, you know, you're better off just trying to throw him slow stuff and hope he gets himself out when he's rolling.
3 years ago, he hit .324, 39 home runs, 40 stolen bases, 126 RBIs. Bouncer back to the mound, big hop for Cain, flip to first, hitting over. The Dodgers add one, though, and at the end of 6, with Chris Withrow looking like he's coming in. They're up 5-2. Up 7, beautiful night. Dodgers 5, Giants 2, down to field level with Buster Olney.
I'm here with Clayton Kershaw. Clayton, he just shook hands with Zack Greinke as he went by. What did he tell you about his night tonight?
Well, I just, we talk about hitting a lot, so I asked him what pitch he hit, and he hit like a little slider cutter from Cain tonight, and, he looked great. He was fun to watch, hitting every spot pretty much, and, his changeup and slider are pretty nasty tonight.
Clayton, you're on the disabled list. What are they telling you about your situation?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird deal. There's not really a timeline or anything like that. It's just kind of do as much as you can do without hurting it, and then, try to push past that every day, try to get a little bit better and better. So as far as a date or a timeline, I'm not sure. I'm trying to be patient, but, hopefully it's, sooner rather than later.
What are you doing to fill your days?
I don't know. It's been tough. Obviously you watch the games and, get to be with your teammates and stuff like that. But, I'm pretty much doing the same things I always do, except I'm not getting a pitch. So that's kind of the rough part about it. But, trying to enjoy it, trying to, have fun with the guys. And, hopefully I'll be back soon enough.
Seen Matt Kemp go through some struggles last couple of years dealing with injuries. What's it like to see him tonight with a couple of home runs?
Yeah, I'm sure he feels great about that. He looks great. His swing, even in BP you can tell that he's getting that pop back to center field, right center field, where he used to hit a lot of his home runs. So you see him doing that in games against, a really good pitcher in Cain. That's a good sign.
How do you feel about the start you guys are off to?
It's been a weird start, honestly, just with, Australia and then, going to San Diego, having some off days. We have a ton of off days. So, overall, I think we're weathering the storm as best we can, and it'll be nice to get on a normal schedule.
Clayton, thanks. Dan, back to you.
All right, Buster, thank you. Pretty good analysis there from Clayton Kershaw on a number of levels, but I think all that Dodger fans care about is when Buster asked him, or the thing they care about the most is when Buster asked him, what's your timeline? And it's kind of vague right now.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's not the answer I'm sure Dodger fans want to hear.
No, he's not stepping up the throwing. He's doing some throwing, but can't quite push it to that game level intensity. It's a muscle in the back, up near the shoulder, behind the shoulder, but it's not the shoulder. But, boy, this is starting to get into the indefinite. I mean, you just don't know right now.
It's getting into, if you're a Dodger fan and even a teammate who doesn't understand, which I'm sure none of them do because I don't think Clayton understands, is now it's getting to, oh boy, what's going on? Because they know how much they need him if they're going to get to the postseason and go deep into the postseason. He's the guy that's going to have to, he's the guy that they're counting on, and right now he's not there. They might not need him if Withrow keeps pitching like this.
Chris Withrow comes in out of the pen and strikes out Brandon Crawford and Ehire Adrianza. This is Kershaw before the game today. On the DL along with Brian Wilson, Chad Billingsley, Josh Beckett. So all of a sudden, Beckett becomes a guy until Kershaw comes back that they need to count on to try to get back. And Beckett was coming back from a thumb injury, and then in his last rehab start rolled his ankle.
Yeah, fielding a bunt, which when you're not doing a lot of baseball drills, it's I guess it can happen. It did happen to Beckett, but it's just one of them weird ones because that's not something you expect.
Gregor Blanco will bat for Matt Cain.
Now Billingsley he's on the track to come back sooner than later, right?
Still a few weeks. Now, the Dodgers, fortunate in a sense, they've had a ton of off days. Yeah, they had to go to Australia, but in part because of that, as Brian Wilson looks on, he's also on the DL with an elbow problem. They've had 3 off days already. They've got one tomorrow. They've got one Thursday. They've got another one next Monday. But they are going to need a 5th starter Wednesday, Don Mattingly says. They want to give Hyunjin Ryu an extra day. They want to push him back. He's already started 3 games for them. So potentially, could it be Beckett? Could it be Matt McGill, a pitcher who's pitching for them at AAA right now? And there's an old saying in baseball, and it's been around for a long time for a reason. You can't have enough pitching.
No, just when you think you do, it comes back and bites you. And it's bitten the Dodgers right now. And, what you go into the season thinking, okay, this is our strength. We can build off this. Yes, we're going to have a great offense, but we have great starting pitching, and now you're scrambling for a 5th starter.
Withrow strikes out the side. Comes in out of the pen and gets Crawford, Adrianza, and Blanco. Welcome back to Los Angeles, and a big special thanks to John Hamm, a big baseball fan, for lending his voice to our production tonight. You can see John and $1 Million Arm opening nationwide May 16th. Time now to take a look at our game track, brought to you by Brute. It's 5-2 for the Dodgers as we go to the bottom of the 7th. A big night for Matt Kemp with 2 home runs. Zack Greinke, a good performance. And now here come the Dodgers in the bottom of the 7th. Juan Uribe to face Juan Gutierrez, 30-year-old right-hander out of Venezuela, who previously has been an Astro, a Diamondback, a Royal, and an Angel. Was a non-roster invitee to big league camp by the Giants this year. Those are his numbers combined last year between the Royals and the Angels. He'll face Uribe, Butera, and then the pitcher spot is due up here in the bottom of the 7th. Uribe, a ground out and a strikeout and a broken to bat pop up for out number 1. Not much left of that bat.
There's some shrapnel there in front of home plate, but that's, I'm sure Uribe's faced Gutierrez before, but you like to see at least one pitch just to get a gauge for how hard he's throwing. And,
not a patient, not known as being a patient hitter.
No, he's not. Apparently he didn't like that bat either because, well, it disintegrated, Dan.
Gutierrez 0 for 2. Five home runs into the game tonight. Matt Kemp's got a couple. Hanley Ramirez has hit one. Brandon Belt and Hunter Pence have homered for the Giants. And it's 5-2 Dodgers, bottom 7 after the Giants won the first 2 games of the series. How about another series ending today? Milwaukee swept the Red Sox up at Fenway over the weekend.
Well, that's why I think it tells you that anything can happen. And I know there's probably some Boston fans, Carl Ravitch for one, that was thinking that the season's over, but I think they'll finish it out.
Giovanni Gallardo getting the win today.
Milwaukee's got some pretty good pitching.
They do.
Kyle Loesch, Matt Garza. I mean, they're a lot better than they have been in the past, and I think Carlos Gomez has the same year he had last year. He had a great year last year. Leading off, getting on base, hitting home runs, and Ryan Braun can be the Ryan Braun of a couple years ago.
1-2. And a breaking ball lifted into shallow right center field. Who wants it? Pence, 2 down. Now, Crucky, here's one for you. The sacred grounds of Augusta serve as the backdrop for the season's first major. Which one of golf's greats will sustain the challenge and have the honor of donning the green jacket? The Masters' first and second rounds Thursday and Friday at 3 Eastern on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN.
Who you got?
This is your department, my friend.
I'm going off the board with Matt Kuchar. I like the way he's been playing. He seems like he has the temperament. Can you believe they let me on those holograms to play?
I was going to ask you. You have played there.
I have played there. They actually let me on once. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They won't let me back, I'm sure.
Maybe they thought you were somebody else.
Yeah.
Justin Turner pinch hitting for Withrow takes a strike.
At that time in my life, I was a left-handed John Daly.
Did you have fun? Was it great?
Oh,
yeah.
It's I'm a North Carolina basketball fan, and on the first tee, we were standing there getting ready to hit, and Arnold Palmer and Dean Smith were watching, and that was oh boy.
You're not known as a name dropper, but that was a beauty right there. That was pretty strong.
Yeah, it was special.
J.P. Howell up in the Dodger pen.
And I hit a good drive and then sculled my next one in the woods over the green, so that was special too.
Inning is over. A good inning for Gutierrez. 7 in the books in L.A. 5-2 Dodgers. 2. Zack Greinke looks like he's in line for a win if the bullpen can do the job.
Well, yeah, and this is what he can do. When you sign him, you would hope you can get the location. But what also you get with Zack Greinke is the complete package as a pitcher. He's a great fielder. I like Greg Maddux. Look at the heads up. He's squared up to the hitter, and he reacts quickly to the ball. And we know he can hit. He won the Silver Slugger last year. Got robbed his first at bat. With this one, he hits a double. And that's about as complete a pitcher as you're going to have in Zack Greinke.
Chris Withrow struck out the side in the 7th. And now veteran left-hander J.P. Howell is on in the 8th inning. Top of the order coming up for the Giants, beginning with Angel Pagan. Howell's off to a good start this year and had a terrific year last year for the Dodgers. 4-1 with an ERA just over 2. And held the opposition to a sub-200 batting average. A guy who would have been with Tampa Bay for a number of years did a heck of a job for the Dodgers last season.
He's not going to overpower you. He's not going to blow it by you. He relies heavily on his changeup and his slow curve.
Changeup pulled foul. And until Paco Rodriguez kind of hit a wall right at the end of last season, he and Howell were two pretty effective left-handers to have down in that.
Yeah, really good, because Paco has that unusual wind-up where he, well,
You'll hurt yourself if you try to do it.
Yeah, my shoulder would rip out of socket, but it's called feed the horse is what they call it in the Naples Little League program, which I never knew known of a horse to be on the field, but if you want to feed one, go ahead. And JP Howe has that deception with the little turn of the back, the off speed. I mean, it looks like he's going to throw it 150 and it comes out of his hand about 84.
Pagan 2 for 3.
That gun's wrong. That wasn't 87. 77, I would give him that. But
Pagan had a couple of base hits off Zack Greinke. Also struck out. One of 8 strikeouts tonight for Greinke in 6 innings. Pagan is hitting .433 a week into the season. Center field for Kemp. There's Brandon Belt. We talked a lot early in the game about the improvements he's made, and he paid it off.
Yeah, that's not a bad pitch. It's down in the zone, but we talked about it earlier, that down and in pitch to a lefty. But if he had his hand curled, there's no chance he'd get to that ball. But look at his hand. Look at the perfect rotation of his bottom hand, how he pulls it in. You see the elbow drive into the ribs, but his hand, because it's not rolled over, doesn't roll over, but it snaps through the hitting zone. And that's how he gets the power. That's how he's generating so much power this year as opposed to any other year in his career.
Already 4 home runs on the season for Belt.
He was explaining to me that he felt like his top hand wasn't like whipping through the zone, like very risky hitting, but it was more like he was pushing it through the zone, and he lost a lot of power that way.
Old habits die hard, though, huh?
Well, stubbornness, it's a lot of guys have success in the minor leagues, and they think when they get here that's going to translate. And the difference between a minor league pitcher and a big league pitcher to me is command. The stuff's not any better. The command is better. And once they learn a weakness, which to him was the inside fastball, they just kept throwing it in there. And now they have to make an adjustment to him because he's made adjustments at the plate by moving back and by loosening his top hand on the bat. Now he has more zip through the strike zone, and now pitchers are going to have to figure a different way.
And a different look for the Giants. They miss Marco Scudero. They wish they had him at second base, but he was their number 2 hitter. They're weaker there with whoever they put in behind him, but by moving Belt or Pence into the 2 spot, depending on if it's a righty or a lefty, they got some thump up there, no matter who's in that 2 spot.
Yeah, and I tell you what, not a bad place to hit in front of Buster Posey or Pablo Sandoval, Buster Posey. You're almost guaranteed you're going to get at least one pitch to hit during the at-bat.
More and more you see teams going away from what used to be the traditional number 2 hitter, the guy who would move runners, get a bunt down, hit the ball to the right side. More and more teams are looking for some power in that 2 spot.
Well, their 2 hitters hit home runs tonight.
Yeah. Liner to center, a base hit. And a 2 for 4 night for Belt.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you look at, because he's back in the box, and he still has a long stride, and he has long legs. And Bruce Bochy said he covers the whole thing. But you see the top hand. That's perfect because it's contact, rollover. And look at this swing. Look at this swing right here. We call it the palms up, palm down when you get to the hitting zone. For a left-handed hitter, your right hand is palm down, left hand's palm up, and then after contact is when you roll over. If you roll over too soon, which he was doing with the wrap, first of all, your bat doesn't stay through the hitting zone like it would the other way. It kind of, if your palm's up, palm down, your bat stays through the hitting zone longer. If your bat's wrapped and you cut it short, you're not covering the outside part of the plate, and you're going to get jammed on the inside part. The only thing you can hit something down the middle. Well, they don't throw them there that often. You wish they would, but they don't. And that's where his adjustments have been made. And like I said, now it's time the pitchers have to start adjusting to what Brandon Belt's doing.
You're a heck of a hitter, but I think you're having trouble covering the outside corner with that bat that you got right
It's
there.
a little short.
Yeah.
You know what? That's probably a 20. It's 24 inches.
Yeah, probably.
Tony Gwynn would still hit 320 with this.
You're probably right.
Because it's only 5 inches shorter than his. Yeah, he's a 30-inch bat or 6 inches. I have to do the math, Dan. You're the smart one here. Get confused with some of those numbers.
I know. All the new math. One and one on Sandoval. Fly out and a couple of ground outs tonight for Sandoval. It's off to a sluggish start, 154 so far on the season.
If they keep panning, that blimp's right above the field.
Want Dougie to give you a blimp shot after this pitch?
Yeah, foul ball. We got time.
Dougie, you got a blimp shot? There you go.
Look at that. See, I never noticed that LA out there. Well, there it is.
It's right.
Yeah.
It's right there. But you're right. You can see it better from way up there. And there's no screen in front of the
screen.
No screen.
There's no screen.
Big crowd, and they got the wave going right now here at Dodger Stadium.
That's fun, isn't it? The wave. Get a couple beach balls. We got life is good out here in LA. They're coming around us, Dan. Stand up.
How'd you feel about that when you were a Padre player coming in here?
Sickening. Well, anywhere. I don't get it. I don't get it. He just hit a foul ball and everyone's standing up. Right? It's a foul ball. Lucky there.
Maybe there are some things we're not meant to understand.
Like that.
Like that, yeah. That's a Giants fan.
I've felt that way some day games.
That's a Giants fan. There's the obligatory
it's complete.
beach ball. Yep.
We got the wave, we got a clown, we got a beach ball.
And a Dodger dog. You had a Dodger. You've had the whole experience.
Dog. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Now if I can just meet Tommy Lasorda, say hi to Tommy today. Completed the package at Dodger Stadium.
Sandoval strikes out. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear with superior performing tires that knock it out of the park. Goodyear, more driven. Don Mattingly to the mound. Right-hand hitting Buster Posey due up. So that means the former closer of the Cleveland Indians, Chris Perez, will be coming into the game looking for the last out of the eighth. Dan Shulman, John Kruk, Buster Olney. Dodger Stadium. Dodgers 5, Giants 2. Runner at first, 2 down. Top 8. Buster Posey, the batter, to face the new pitcher for Los Angeles. Some Brian Wilson fan, I hope. Chris Perez is into the game now for the Dodgers, the former closer of the Cleveland Indians. They got closers all over the place.
They got 6 closers in their bullpen. 6. How do you ever win a game?
All kinds of saves.
How do they lose? I tell you what, if that guy wasn't a Brian Wilson fan, he's hiding from someone.
Yeah, you're right. We got a whole other story.
Yeah.
Perez, 2-3 years ago, put up some big numbers. Struggled some last year, eventually lost the closer's job. Now he is primarily the 7th inning guy for the Dodgers, but with Brian Wilson on the DL, Perez has moved up a notch. And his job tonight may not be easy, but it's clear cut. Get Buster Posey in the 8th inning. Turn it over to Kenley Jansen in the 9th.
Yeah, and if you don't get him, get the guy that just hit one 700 feet.
And Hunter Pence, who's on deck. He starts up with a slider down and away ball 1.
See, that's the one that they got Buster Posey swinging on. Greinke got him swinging first pitch, a couple at bats. That first pitch, slow breaking ball. Buster Posey's out front. Perez now misses with it. Now what's he do?
Gets him to chase one.
Yeah, that's an over-anxious Buster Posey. And usually you'd never say that about him. He's usually such a disciplined hitter, swinging at strikes, mainly at strikes. Today he's chasing that slow breaking ball. And if you're Perez, you just throw it again and hope he swings at it again. Don't try to trick him with a fastball here.
Whoop. Tricked him with a slider, and the bat goes flying. And you got to give it back. Sorry, kiddo. You might get a trade, but you got to give it back.
I am certain, 100% certain, that Buster Posey didn't mean to throw his bat up in the stands. Why do they boo when that happens?
Because he's a giant.
Exactly. I mean, I'm sure Buster Posey liked that bat or he wouldn't have brought it up to the plate. It's a good toss, though. I mean, he had some good distance, little hang time.
Cleared.
I mean, Ray
4
Guy
rows behind the dugout.
Ray Guy would have been proud of that one.
Nothing but sliders, and Perez does his job, striking out Posey to end the inning. The Dodgers up 5-2 on the Giants. Try to avoid a sweep here at the hands of San Francisco. The MLB Fan Cave is back. Some of baseball's biggest stars are scheduled to visit and appear in Fan Cave videos. Check out all the latest cave happenings at MLBFanCave.com. Follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter and like the MLB Fan Cave on Facebook. The Expos are here. You can follow every Major League game. You won't see the Expos. Every Major League Baseball game with MLB.com for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry 10, or Windows Phone 8. Get scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at BAT to 31826 or visit MLB.com for details. Can you do this half inning so I can go figure out why those guys are here? Who those guys are? You good with that?
Yeah, whatever you need.
They had 2 spring training games up in Montreal.
Been carrying you all day.
Yes, I know you have. Part of your
what
regimen.
another half inning would be.
Do you know they had 2 spring training games in Montreal? And they got huge crowds.
Well, apparently it wasn't a regular season. Apparently they didn't know the schedule.
Yep.
They showed up a little late.
David Huff into the game now for the Giants.
About 10 years late.
And a bouncer down to third. Sandoval in on the grass. 1 down. You played against some pretty good teams when you went up to Montreal back in the day.
Yeah, it's a shame no one came to see them.
Yeah.
They were good. Larry Walker and Marquise Grissom and Delino DeShields. Pedro was there.
Young Pedro, yeah.
Kenny Hill was really good.
Yeah. John Wetland was a closer.
John Wetland was a closer.
Yeah. Well, go back a few more years. Tim Wallach was here tonight. Was a terrific
Eli was there,
right?
yeah. Played against him.
Different eras, but they had, Tim Raines had great years up there. It was Crawford with a fly ball to left center. Pagan runs it down. 2 down. Had some good teams in the 80s, and then in 94, of course, the strike year. They had the best record in baseball when baseball came to a halt in the middle of August. Got some more Major League action coming your way. A special presentation of Baseball Tonight Game Day Live from Fenway tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern on ESPN2. Then at 7 Eastern, it'll be Prince Field with the Rangers taking on the world champion Red Sox. And Wednesday, it's the Astros and the Blue Jays, also at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Kenley Jansen, one of the most effective closers in baseball, getting ready to do his thing.
Cutter. You know it's coming. You can't hit it.
And you're probably, if you're a left-handed batter, probably going to lose a bat in the process.
And a thumb. Possibly a thumb.
Yep. Hanley Ramirez 2 for 3 with a home run and a double tonight.
I think he was real happy with that foul ball. You want to take it from there?
He'll make a little adjustment here.
Yeah, that's an 0-2 pitch that he threw 10 feet high, and it's not one that, as a hitter, you're thinking, uh-oh, I got to protect against that pitch now. Not a competitive pitches.
That one is got a cutter in on his hands, and Ramirez fouls it off. $48,367 the attendance here tonight.
How much?
48,367 paid.
Wow.
Dodgers have already sold more than 3 million tickets. Did not go. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Got to be fun to come to a ballpark when you know your home teams, when they're all healthy, they're going to have a good to great starting pitcher out there and a lineup that has the ability to score a ton of runs.
You all stars. Like this guy. Second home run of the game for Ramirez. They made a little adjustment.
Yeah, that first couple he was out in front of, then he got upset with himself. Yeah, he kind of stayed back on that one a little better. What a strong human being. That's a line drive to center.
400-foot line drive.
Yeah.
Where the ball doesn't carry traditionally.
That's the way I always felt when I played here.
15th multi-home run game of Hanley Ramirez's big league career, and we're told the 6 home runs hit tonight, 4 by the Dodgers, 2 by the Giants, the most hit in a game this season.
You wonder now if we're going to see Kenley Jansen now that it's not a save situation.
They're off tomorrow, so
yes, we will see.
And he's been up, and we'll find out in a matter of seconds as Gonzalez grounds out. 2 homers for Ramirez, 2 for Kemp, 6-2 Dodgers at the end of 8. Some very talented hitters showing their stuff here tonight for LA. A 2-homer double night, 3 for 4, 3 extra base hits for Hanley Ramirez. And we are indeed going to see Kenley Jansen, although it is not a save situation. The gate is open, and the big fella is on his way into the game to try to lock it up for the Dodgers.
No, you leave passes for your family. You don't expect them to come like this. It's embarrassing. I apologize, Mom. At least one of the clowns is happy.
Here's Jansen.
Oh, boy.
Look at these numbers. Look at the strikeouts to walks. Look at the ratio, the walks and hits divided by innings pitched. And he is nasty. He still strikes out a ton of batters. Not quite as many as he used to, but he doesn't walk anybody anymore. He's just tough. He 22 pitches yesterday, also in an on-save situation. Hunter Pence leading off the 9th for the Giants. Pence homered his last time up, hit a rocket the other way. So what makes him so tough? We know it's a cutter. Is it the late movement? Not to say he's Mariano Rivera, but is it the same kind of situation?
Yeah, it's the same kind of situation because your eyes tell you it's fastball, and even though your brain knows it's going to cut, your eyes and your body can't convince yourself of that.
So do you give up on it, or you just hit it with the wrong part of the bat?
Both.
Yep.
Both. I mean, that was one right there that Hunter Pence gave up on because it was started at him and broke over the inside part of the plate, and he gave a little bit.
Two and two.
That was one there that at 95 that if Butera wasn't setting up inside, he might have gotten that call. Trying to throw that at Pence's right hip and have it cut over the inside part of the plate. You're going to try there again.
So 3-2 on Pence. Morse and Crawford to follow. Last chance for the Giants.
And this is here 3-2. You're up 6-2. This is a pitch where you throw your cutter down the center of the plate. If it cuts away, it cuts away. If it doesn't, you take your chance. If he hits it 600 feet, you still got a 3-run lead.
Got it.
There's the repertoire. There's the first one, cutter. Second one, cutter, and Hunter Pence is taken, and now it's 1-2. And this is when he tried to get the strikeout. That's a close pitch that he missed because the catcher was sitting inside, and then he tried to come in, and then that high cutter away. And you see Hunter Pence's left hip is flying open because he came inside on him a couple times off the plate, and so Hunter Pence naturally, I'm going to look for something in there. And even though it was 3-2, he's still looking.
Now Morse flares one into right field for a base hit. And he's 2 for 4.
Number 35, Brandon Crawford.
Brandon Crawford will be the batter. Both teams are off tomorrow. The Dodgers are going to welcome the Detroit Tigers here to Dodger Stadium for a quick 2-game series Tuesday and Wednesday.
Natural rivalry. I don't know who's pitching for the Tigers, but I'm sure he's good. Wouldn't you think?
Chances are. Scherzer, who won the Cy Young on Tuesday, and Sanchez, who won the ERA title on Wednesday.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you're looking at the schedule. All right, we got Detroit for 2 games. Probably not going to get their best. Well, there we go. Go get them, boys.
Dan Herron starts Tuesday for the Dodgers. They haven't announced a starter yet for Wednesday. Tigers lost for the first time today.
See, here's something where I think today's players are a little more stubborn, especially against a guy like Kenley Jansen, Mariano Rivera. You know, you still have left-handed hitters like Brandon Crawford who are standing right on top of the plate, and he's throwing cutters. Even if you hit it square, you're going to hit it foul. You know, why don't you back off the plate a little bit and make him throw it on the outside part of the plate? And if he tries to throw it inside, then you have a chance at it.
2 down.
What it does is it makes you open up. And you know, Kenley Jansen threw that pitch away, and Crawford had no chance of getting to it. Because he's so conscious of, I'm on top of the plate, he throws that cutter inside, I have to get to it quicker.
Him sitting now for the Giants, number 29, Hector Sanchez.
The Dodger bullpen, 4 relievers, Withrow, Howell, Perez, Jansen, have come in and gotten 8 outs. 7 of them have been strikeouts.
I got to play defense behind that.
There's Hector Sanchez to pinch hit.
He got a little beach ball out in center. Love it.
And when you add in Greinke's numbers, he struck out 8, so they've struck out 15 batters today.
That's not going to get you too much, is it?
2 solo home runs accounting for the Giants. They've actually out-hit the Dodgers 8-7.
They could kill a rally.
Yeah. Down to their last out. Runner goes. Pitch taken for ball 1, and Morse into second on defensive indifference. Brandon Hicks to pinch hit. Should the game continue? A strike. 2.
Isn't it amazing how you think you're getting a good swing against a cutter, and then you either hit the top of the ball and you roll over, hit a little weak foul ball, or you break your bat and hit a little blooper between first base and the dugout. I don't know why more guys don't throw it.
Well, with an off-speed pitch there, breaking ball.
He's just working on things.
Throws some at 91, 92, but he can muscle up to 95 when he needs it.
And still moves. Which is what makes him so dangerous. I'm going to predict he's throwing a cutter here. Although he shook off.
Ouch.
Tell you what, so far the hitter's shin guards have become irrelevant. They haven't really worked in this game. That would look like it hit him on the arch of the foot.
So you're Sanchez, you don't start, you sit for 3 hours, you're asked to pinch hit against one of the toughest guys in baseball, and you hit it right off the inside of your foot.
Yeah. And that even hit the pad a little, so. Yeah, it's, you wonder why, when you're not an everyday player, why it's so difficult to hit for a high average. That's why guys like Lenny Harris and Manny Mota, who was a great pinch hitter for the Dodgers, it's a gift, and it's probably the hardest thing to do, because especially if you're a guy with some power, you're gonna hit off the closer.
Game over. The pitching was terrific. The power was impressive. And the Dodgers avoid a sweep at the hands of the Giants as they bounce back with a 6-2 win tonight here in the final game of the series. We'll take a quick break and come back and wrap it up from Los Angeles right after this.